Hello everybody. Today we will be reviewing Season 7 of The Big Bang Theory. This time actually Season 7, because I know in the last video I said Season 7, even though it was Season 6. So in this season, I guess the first thing of note would be... Oh geez, what does happen earlier on? Sorry, just give me a second here. Usually, I do... my little refresher, just as a kind of, because so much happens in this season, right? And I like to go back and kind of just look at what happens as a reminder. So just bear with me here a moment. Here we go. Yes, so Leonard is off on his experiment voyage, I guess, on the sea. Anyway, Sheldon has this horrible dream about him being taken by this kraken. Anyway, it turns out he's having this, amazing time. One of the big things that I forgot to mention from the last season that carries into the season is Raj finally gets over his social anxiety due to the girl he was dating in the sixth season. So now he can talk to girls without having to have the alcohol in his system. That's a big part of the season, which means he kind of becomes more obnoxious with everybody, even when he isn't drinking. It's just kind of added on when he's drinking now. There are certain points in this show with the relationship. Obviously, Bernadette and Howard's anniversary is one of the big things that happens. He writes a song for her. That was kind of one of the more meaningful episodes in this season. Penny proposes to Leonard and he says no, but she was drunk. Penny finally gets kind of like her, changes her life, I guess, in a way. She quits working at the Cheesecake Factory, decides to take a part in a movie. She was in the first one called Serial Apist, so I guess this one she decides to take the part in the second film, like the sequel to it, yeah. Anyway, she ends up getting fired from that, along with Wil Wheaton, who decided to give her some encouraging words before the film, even though it ends up being more of a depressing story than anything else. Wil Wheaton and Sheldon are still friends, so in one of the episodes, Professor Proton, who was one of Sheldon's biggest influences as a child, ends up dying. So that was one of the sadder episodes. Was it Wil Wheaton that came to confront him there or console him in that episode? I don't think it was, no, because that was the Star Wars episode where they're watching all the Star Wars movies together. I can't remember why Wil Wheaton came to console Sheldon. It was for another problem. I'm sure I'll think of it eventually here as I continue. Finally, Leonard and Penny go back and forth till finally they do kind of propose, but it's kind of like in an awkward way. They're kind of like, oh, I guess we are engaged now. And then Leonard finally pulls the ring out of his wallet and he says that he's had it a couple of years. So that was one of the last episodes, I do believe, because that's the episode where Raj says that he's finally had sex with the new girl he's with, Emily, even though during this season he tries to balance two women at once, which doesn't work, because one girl is kind of more accepting of it than the other, and one girl freaks out on him, so he ends up just being with Emily. What else happens in this season? I guess Bernadette and Amy kind of become closer because they don't always want to be around Penny because she kind of takes the limelight away from them, because she's like, I guess the attractive girl out of the group is kind of the route they're taking now, even though Bernadette and Amy obviously aren't bad-looking girls, if you watch the show. But I guess Penny is supposed to be the hot one, obviously, because I think she might actually be the youngest in real life, but I'm not entirely sure about that. Let's see. Trying to think of everything that happens in one season is hard sometimes. So if I miss anything, just leave a comment below. Oh, Bill Nye, the Science Guy, makes a appearance in this season, as well as James Earl Jones. That was one of the things. Sheldon gets to hang out with James Earl Jones for an entire episode. It turns out James Earl Jones lives more of an exciting life, or not exciting, I wouldn't say, but exciting isn't the right word. What's the word I'm looking for? Well, I guess it is more of an exciting life than you would think he would live. A different life. He lives a different lifestyle than Sheldon does, for sure. Sheldon's not like the type of party animal, and I guess James Earl Jones kind of is, because he's telling Sheldon his past stories while they're in the sauna together at the end of the episode, and Sheldon ends up falling asleep. I think that's about it, besides Sheldon's theory being disproved by Leonard. He thinks that he's found a new element. Turns out that he hasn't. Leonard disproves it, and then Kripke obviously makes fun of him for it. I believe... No, I don't think that was this season, so I won't even say that. If it was, I'm sorry for leaving that out. What else is there? I know there was something else I wanted to touch on earlier, but I completely forgot what it is. I know there's obviously relationship problems throughout the season with everybody. And Sheldon and Amy's kind of become a little bit more prominent, especially during the Valentine's Day episode, when Amy takes Sheldon on a train. He ends up meeting a friend on that train and ends up spending most of the time with him. And then close to the end of the episode, Sheldon and Amy kiss. I believe it was for the very first time, because it was the laugh track or whatever kind of goes ooh ah, that kind of thing. So anyway, yeah, that was a big moment in this season. I think that about covers it. They do talk about in one of the episodes how it would be different if if Sheldon wasn't in their lives, because I guess they think Leonard would have never met Penny, Howard would have never been with Bernadette, and it's kind of funny the scenarios they go through because of Howard and Raj's friendship was even now, but it was more escalated than it was before they met the women in their lives. So it's kind of a funny thing to look back and think about. And I guess Leonard thinks that Penny would have been with Zach, who was one of her boyfriends from the earlier seasons, and Leonard obviously would have never asked Penny out if he wasn't living across the hall from her, even though he did go to the Cheesecake Factory frequently. Also, the very last episode, Sheldon decides to leave because of Penny's engagement Leonard being engaged to Penny now. So obviously Leonard's thinking about moving out with Penny. Stuart's comic book store burns down. So that was basically the one place Sheldon could go to kind of like free his mind of things when he was stressed out. Amy suggests moving in with him. He says no, he just wants things to stay the way they are, so he ends up just leaving. And they kind of let him go, even though Amy gets mad at Leonard for it at the end of the episode, which was actually kind of, in a way, it was comical, the way she got mad. But yeah, I think that about covers everything that mainly happens in this season. Oh, right. Howard gets asked to go back to the space station. And anyway, he acts like he wants to go, gets mad at everybody for telling him that he shouldn't, and then when he's at the doctor's, he calls his mother to make his blood pressure go up, even though the space exploration or him going back up into space wouldn't happen for another year. Sorry, I had my words jumbled up there. I guess another one would be things, speaking of change, that there's this one space in the back that they never use, so Leonard ends up getting a dining room table. Anyway, it ends up being a big waste of time because they end up just going back to the way Sheldon wanted things, and them all sitting in the living room together, which was kind of funny. I think that's about... Now I think that's it. I think I've covered everything now. If there isn't, just leave a comment below this video. Hopefully the audio is better with this headset. And like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye for now.